are going to learn a new formula, Amordegrc. What is the use of this formula? Have you ever heard about this term depreciation? Depreciation means the decline in a value of any material in due course of time. For example, if you buy a car, so the moment you pay the amount and buy the car, and the next moment when you drive the car on the road, from that moment itself its value starts to decline. If you bought the car for 10 lakhs, then immediately on the next moment you drive the car, its value is not 10 lakhs, it is less than 10 lakhs. So here comes the term depreciation. If your car is 1 year old, then when you go for selling that car, the buyer of the car who buys it for second hand, he will calculate that depreciation value and reduce the value, and then he will pay the remaining amount to buy the car. Even this fits for the this term applies for the machineries also. In the company, the factories, you have a lot of machineries, and the moment when you start working or start operating those machines, from that moment it starts to decline, starts to decline in its value. To understand and to calculate its value, this method is used. Amordegrc. This formula in Excel function is provided for the French accounting system, but now you can find this warning in the Microsoft.com like this. It shows because of changes to the depreciation methodology of the French accounting system, this function is deprecated and should no longer be used. They are telling that this function is not at all valid because the depreciation methodology of the French accounting system is changed. Therefore, still it is there. Even you can find this formula in Office 365, but they tell that this function is deprecated. Let's learn this formula in detail. Let's get started. When you observe the syntax, the first is the cost. Cost is the value of that particular, for example, we taken a car or a machinery, anything it may be. Cost is the value, that is the new product and the value which you paid to buy that product. For example, any machines or anything, now I fix the cost as 10,000. It can be dollar or rupees, 10,000 rupees. The second second option is date purchased. You have to enter the date purchased. And next is the first period. This period is the value, whether it can be 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, but not more than 1 year. The period means it is the value at which its depreciation is calculated. Maybe you can calculate it after a month, or you can calculate it after 2 months or after 3 months. But when you start calculating that particular value, that value gets introduced into the formula automatically when you apply the formula. So that's the first period, that is the from the purchase date, the first period which you want to know the depreciation value, how much that particular product has lost its value or declined in its value. Next is the salvage. Salvage is the value of that product after its lifetime and when it goes finally for the scrap. That means when the product becomes useless, what will be or what is the value predicted for that product. So that value will be very least. You can fix it anything. Even the car which is bought for 10 lakhs, its value, or after 10 years, or after it runs for 1 lakh kilometers, surely it becomes 3 to 2 lakhs or even 1 lakh. So that's the salvage value. The salvage value is the value at which the product has ended its lifetime and now it goes for the scrap. Next is the period. As you entered the first period is considered as the zeroth period. That means from the date of purchase, it may be after 3 months or after 6 months. So that is the first period. For example, if 3 months is the first period, after 3 months you are calculating and you have entered that 3 months as the first period. Then in the period, in the place of period, if you enter 2, then it denotes that you are going to calculate it for the after 6 months. So after 6 months, what would be its value? Next is the rate of interest. Sorry, it's a rate at which the how much percentage. The rate is the percentage of declining in its cost. From 10,000, how much it gets reduced, that is 10%. So now we are going to calculate and see for a product. I have entered the cost as 10,000 and the date of purchase. If you plainly enter any values here, sometimes it shows error. That's why, to make everything perfect and to avoid errors, just type equal to date and then enter the value here. I'm showing you DAT. When you just type like this, you can select it, click here, and it asks the year. So I'm going to enter the year as I have purchased this product on 1st January of 2022, comma, and the month it's 1 and the day it's 1. Just click or press enter. Next, the first period. I am assuming that I am going to calculate its value after 6 months. The same thing, date, and enter the year first. And month is after the 6 months, so it is 6th month, and day is the last day of that month. One 2022 salvage value. I consider this product after its lifespan, it will be sold for only 500 rupees, and the period I'm entering it as 2, and the rate of declining in its value is 10%. Now we are going straight into the formula. Equal to AM, so it shows Amordegrc. Yes, the first it asks is the cost. First is the cost. As we enter, the cost is 10,000, comma, the date purchased, 2022, and first month and first day, and the first period is again date function, and the salvage. I 100 is as 500 and the period. So I'm calculating it the second period, that is after 2 periods. That means the first period is this after 6 months, so second period will be after 1 year. The rate is 10%. It has entered at 1641. What is this 1641 shows? What is this 1641? So after the second period, the value is declined by 1641. So what would be the value of that product now? You can calculate it. The value of the product is equal to, what is the cost? It is 10,000 minus 1641. So now after 2 periods, the value of that product is 8,359. This is the calculation of the depreciation value using this formula. So any product, if you want to resell it or anyone wants to buy it as a second hand, then they will use this formula for calculating it, especially in French accounting system. As we seen before, it is not in use now. Now let's move on to Amorlinc. Both are same and both are used for calculating the depreciation value with only small difference. Everything is same: cost, date purchase, first period, salvage, and period and rate of declining in its value. But when you see the table here, is a 0th period, its value is this, and after first period, second period, third period, fourth period, it goes like this. But see the depreciation value. When for the previous formula, the depreciation value is different. But for Amorlinc, the depreciation value is not so. See, after the first period, 0th period, next the depreciation value remains the same. Let this be the 0th period and this be the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and etc. For emerged function, is equal to AM 10,000, comma, date purchased, first period 1,000, period and rate of interest 1602. The same time for Amorlinc, cost, date purchased, first period, salvage, and period, and the percentage of decline in its value is 1,000. So this is the first, actually this is the second period. I am entering this period as, instead of entering the period, let's select from here 0th period, enter, and here also the 0th period, enter, and let's scroll it. Let's scroll this value. Before scrolling, just log these references by adding a dollar symbol. Here also, let's log the references. it just keeps on writing 1000. Here the original value we entered is 10,000 and minus this 10,000 minus this. For the next first period, it is this minus this. So what makes the formula differ between these two? Here the value is only 1000, here it is declining in its value. What makes it so? When we come to this slide, here you can find depreciation coefficients. So what does this do? For the first formula, it checks the period, whether it is the first year or second year. It doesn't do anything. So when we calculate the depreciation value between 3 and 4 years, it takes the depreciation coefficient as 1.5. Between 5 and 6 years too, and more than 6 years, it takes it as 2.5. But this depreciation value is not at all considered in the second formula, Amorlinc. And next we have one more thing here, the formula, that is basis. So what is this basis here? When you enter the comma, here you can find what is the options for basis. When you leave it empty, it takes it at 0, and the value is calculated for 360 days, that is 30 days per month. Or if you enter 1, it calculates the original value. If there are 28 days, then it takes it at 20 days in a month. If there are 31 days, it takes at 31 days in a month. And this one, it takes the actual days, but it calculates for 360, it calculates it as 360 days in a year. And then actual month, actual days in a month, but 365 in a year. Then for European, it is 30 days and 360, that is the same as 0. If you leave it empty, it takes it at 0 and calculates the value. These are very important when we calculate the depreciation value, and even it is used for the people who are in the field of insurance or in the field of resale, like that.